Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for coming today again for this course, Research Methodology, which is part of the requirement of MSc and PhD in Inspiration and Resilience Economy. Now we reached to here where we talked about the type of questions that can be addressed when we do a research. There is one type of questions which called factual questions, which we focus on the age, gender, education, experience, and often used to investigate relationships. The other type is informative, which is what is the respondents know about a given topic. So how do we, for example, come up to know the availability of a certain journal or availability of a certain issue? There is attitudinal or opinion-based questions where we obtain about respondents' belief, feelings, and values. And whether we agree with, for example, a certain issue, like for copyright or human rights and so on. There is also the self-perception questions where we allow subjects to compare their ideas or action with others. And how active are they in the community work, for example, or how will they describe, for example, themselves in certain issues or skills. The other type of question is standard of action questions, where the respondents will act in a situation. For example, whether they will vote for election or will they join, for example, a certain donation organization. There is a projective questions which allow the respondents to answer in an indirect manner by imposing their feelings or attitudes or beliefs. So, for example, when we ask, are most of the Singaporeans, for example, are stayers or quiters, or are the students happy with a certain grading scheme? There is also unstructured questions, which allow respondents to reply freely without having to select one of the several provided responses. Which again, there is also the useful exploratory studies in which various dimensions and facets of a problem are examined. And there is, of course, usually the difficult to analyze responses. Now, these type of questions called unstructured questions. Now, we have also the structured question, which provide a group of fixed responses, or again, with a yes or no, or for example, true or false, or agree or disagree. Or sometimes even the multiple choice are considered to be structured questions, which, for example, when you ask what resources do you use for writing term reports, or how many hours do you, let's say, exercise per week. Okay, and then you check one of the boxes, for example, 3 hours, 10 hours, and so on. And also, how satisfied are you with the quality of the canteen, for example? There is also contingency based questions, where we determine if the respondent is qualified to answer a subsequent question. So, for example, you can ask, do you use a database available from iGEMS? And if no, then you move for question 15. Or, for example, when you ask, have you participated in, for example, certain orientation? If yes or no. If yes, then you go to how effective was this, for example, the briefing on the orientation, whether it was effective, ineffective, or very effective. Now, there is also Likert scale type questions, where each respondent is assigned a numeric rank, let's say 1 to 3, or 1 to 7, or 1 to 5, based on continuum that contains predetermined units of measurements. And these are designed, these type of structure question, they are designed to show a differentiation among respondents' opinion. For example, when you ask how important is, so then you can say very important, it's important, and so on. Or how adequate are these things? Then you can say from a very adequate to inadequate. Or when you ask about how frequently do you do certain things, so you can ask, you can the answer will be either frequently or less frequently or infrequently. So we have what we call the semantic differentiation skill, which provide again the structure part, a bipolar adjacent pairs. For example, how would you rate performance of the income tax staff? Okay, so and you can rate them from 1 to 7, or bad to good, or unfair to fair, or harsh to gentle. So these are again type of Likert scale structure question. Responders are expected to rank responses according to their importance and preference. Should be used also carefully, as many respondents face difficulty in understanding or responding. Only use a short list of responses. For example, what let's say do you prefer in writing term reports? Okay, please rank them according to 1 most preferred and 7 least preferred. Same thing for if we want to choose, for example, let's say what type of books you want. Is it encyclopedia based or friends books or personal collection and so on. So there is what we call question replacement. It is opening question, start with easy non-threatening question, and then a sequence according to the research topic. And then there is sensitive question should be asked after trust is developed. And there is difficult or question or direct question. More difficult question should be asked at the end of the interview. And there is personal data, which means the age, gender, qualification, experience. The unstructured approach actually to inquiry is usually classified as qualitative. A study is classified as qualitative if the purpose of the purpose is primarily to describe a situation or a phenomenon or problem or event. Okay, the information is gathered through the use of variables or measured on a qualitative measurement scale. If the analysis is done to establish the variation in the situation or problem without quantifying it, then qualitative studies will tend to be more in depth, focusing on a smaller population, but probing deeper into a given problem. So there are type of questions that we or research we need to focus on. There is the application research, there is objective research, and there is the type of information sought research. For the application research, we'll focus on the pure, as we mentioned, research or applied research. For the objective research, we can go for descriptive research or exploratory research. And here also we can go through correlation research or explanatory research. Okay. While for the type of information sought, it is quantitative research that leads to a qualitative research also. So there is qualities of good research. Research must address an important and relevant issue. That means it undertake to increase knowledge and have some beneficial implications. It will also have some relevance to time, place, and population of the study. And good research is logical because it implies that the rules of logical reasoning and logical process of induction and deduction has been applied. There is qualities of research also that is seen in analyzing, interpreting information to answer questions. And this means that we'll have a certain characteristics. One, it should be logical, rigorous, systematic, valid, and verifiable, empirical, and critical. So one of the qualities of good research is that to find answers to questions that are relevant, appropriate, and justified. Again, the degree of rigor strict varies markedly between the physical and social sciences within the social sciences. Good research is systematic, which implies that the procedure adopted to undertake an investigation follow a certain logical sequence. The different steps cannot be taken in a haphazard way. Some procedures must follow others. So the systematic characteristics of research rejects the use of guessing or intuition in arriving at a conclusion. Qualities of good research, then it needs the following steps. First, we need to find a problem identification. Then we should go for reviewing the literature. And then we should do a proper collection of data. And then we should analyze the data. And then we should draw a conclusion based on the analysis of the data and make generalization from it. So qualities of good research means that we'll have a valid and verifiable, let's say, research or conclusion, okay, that will help us to conclude on the basis of our finding, which is correct and can be verified by us or by others. Also, qualities of good research might be also empirical. This means that any conclusion drawn are based upon hard evidence gathered from information collected from real life experiences and observation. Qualities of good research, it means also it have to be having critical scrutiny, which means examination of the procedures used and methods employed is crucial to the research inquiry. The process of investigation must be foolproof and free from drawbacks. The process adopted and the procedures used must be able to withstand critical scrutiny. I think we'll stop here and continue with you in next session. Thank you very much.